Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Rick, and I'm back here with part 2 of my May review videos. So today is May 30th. Going to attempt to play catch up on videos today. I have a bunch of stuff to record, so plenty of new content coming to the channel. A bunch of pickup videos, tons of unboxings, review videos. There's light at the end of the tunnel. It looks like I may be going back to work soon, so the live streams probably will discontinue, but it's not a guarantee. We shall see. I will know more this upcoming week. So let's dive right into the reviews. Let's see. We watched, looks like only 12 movies. It's still a lot. This week, the second week of May. The first thing we checked out was a movie that Bridget had never seen, but I had seen, and that is Dream a Little Dream, starring the two Coreys, Feldman and Haim. So in my head before watching this, I definitely was like, I've seen this movie. I remember watching it all the time as a young kid. But as I watched the film, like, the movie didn't really stick out to me. I didn't really remember a lot about it. The movie felt like a big mess to me, honestly. There was like really rough editing done in the film. The performances along with the plot just felt messy. Kind of a bit of a disappointment revisiting. And I realized this was not a movie I watched as a kid, which when you see the next thing we watched, it kind of like a light bulb went off and I realized, oh, I did not watch this one. I only watched the second one. But yeah, the soundtrack was good in the film, and that's about all I can say that's positive for this movie. Wasn't really great. There wasn't even like real standout scenes to me. There was the, Corey Feldman acting like Michael Jackson scene in this movie, along with the second one. So I gave Dream a Little Dream a 1.5. Like I said, did not quite hold up for me. And then the next thing we watched, which is on this UglyDolls DVD, which I believe my buddy Brandon got for me at the Dollar Tree a while ago, is Dream a Little Dream 2 right there. So Dream a Little Dream 2 is the movie that I watched a lot as a younger kid. I think it was probably on Prism, maybe, because it's my understanding that movie was never in theaters. It was like a straight-to-DVD film, or not straight-to-DVD, but a straight-to-TV film. Basically, I remember the concept of like two pairs of sunglasses, one pair controlling the other pair, and whatever they do was a fun idea as a kid. Plus, there was like attractive females in it, so made it watchable. And this movie was pretty awful on the rewatch. I keep holding this up like this is the movie. I'm talking about Dream Little Dream 2. I'm gonna just put this down because that's the movie. Yeah, it was very messy. Wasn't very well done, honestly. And there were weird, like, black and white exposition shots in the movie that just felt really jarring and out of place. So this movie was a bit of a bummer. I gave it a 1 out of 5. The Dream a Little Dream franchise did not hold up for me. It's not quite like The Lost Boys or License to Drive for me, which is a sentimental favorite that I think is still pretty watchable up to this day. So they're actually probably not going to make the shelf. They're going to not make the shelf. Although I am intrigued by the first one to watch, Last Resort, because I've never seen that. But we'll see. I might hold on to that to watch Last Resort. The other thing I want to mention is I have a new tripod, so maybe the video will look a little different because of the tripod. So much easier to set up. I also have a fan going, and it's supposed to be a quiet fan, so I'm hoping that sound isn't too bad. I'm sure you guys will probably hear it to an extent, but it's getting hot in Pennsylvania, and we're almost in June, so hopefully the fan won't be too distracting for people. So yeah, continue. Next up, we checked out Shaun of the Dead. This was a rewatch for both of us. This is my steelbook that is opened. This movie is so well done, so much fun. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost are great together in this movie. It is a fantastic horror comedy movie. I enjoy this movie so much. It really does hold up. the music, the humor, the zombies. It's just very fun. I want to say the first major movie directed by Edgar Wright, who went on to do some of my favorites: Baby Driver, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the rest of the Cornetto trilogy, which I don't like as much as this, The World's End, and Hot Fuzz. But yeah, I mean, Edgar Wright, I'm always excited about what he does. Most of what he does is a knockout for me. And like I said, even the stuff I don't love is still really good. So Shaun of the Dead, 4.5 out of 5 for me. Really like it, really enjoy it. Next up was another rewatch for us, and that is Tropic Thunder. Fantastic cast. You have Ben Stiller, excuse me, Jack Black, Tom Cruise, Matthew McConaughey, Robert Downey Jr., Jay Baruchel, Danny McBride. There's lots of people in this movie. Steve Coogan, Bill Hader, Nick Nolte, Brandon T. Jackson. So a fantastic cast in this film. It's been incredibly long since I watched this movie though. And I was very excited to revisit it, and it really held up for me. I really think it's funny. This was the same year this came out. Iron Man came out. So Robert Downey Jr. basically became Iron Man after this movie. He's forever going to be known and remembered as Iron Man, in my opinion. The movie's not PC, which doesn't necessarily bother me, but might bother some. There are lots of topics that in today's society are things you don't talk about. There's definitely stuff in here that's very controversial, but I think the movie is fun enough that it doesn't take itself super serious when it comes to it. And Tom Cruise, what a pleasant surprise in this movie. Definitely was a scene stealer when he was on screen. Definitely a fun watch. Tropic Thunder, 4 out of 5. Definitely holds up for me. Next up was a movie we watched on Hulu. A movie that Chris Stuckman had, I think, in his top 2 or top 3 of 2019. That Bridget and I had no idea what it was. And it was a French film. So a movie all in French with subtitles. And that is Portrait my nose is itchy. Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Way out of my comfort zone because not only was it a foreign film, it was a period piece. So definitely not my strong suits, but I gave it the old college try. Apparently it was his number 2 movie. I have all my notes here. It's supposed to be getting a Criterion release in the near future. So this movie for me was incredibly reminiscent of Call Me By Your Name. Not so much the way it was shot or the way it looked, but just the story arc. Definitely similarities in what happens to the characters. A forbidden romance, a forbidden same-sex romance. But there's more to the story than that, but very similar in my opinion. That's the vibe I got from it. The final shot is incredibly reminiscent of the final shot in Call Me By Your Name. But the story is incredibly shot. The cinematography is stunning in the film. The movie looks absolutely beautiful. And like I said, I mean, for a movie that was totally out of my comfort zone, it was 2 hours. I enjoyed it. I really, I sat there intrigued through the whole story. And I really liked it. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I thought Portrait of a Lady on Fire was really good and definitely would recommend watching. It's not going to be for everybody, but I recommend it. I thought it was really enjoyable. And then next up, we watched a movie on HBO Now, because now it's HBO Max, but then it was HBO Now. And that is called Rocket Science. And the reason it was even on my radar is it was one of 2 Jonah Hill movies I've never seen. I've watched everything Jonah Hill has been in except for 2 movies, Rocket Science being one, and saw it was on HBO, so added it to the list. And the lead boy, who's played by Reese Thompson, plays a stuttering kid, and I guess they're technically in high school, I would assume. But he's a stuttering kid. He has problems with just like ordering lunch at school. He's wooed by a young and baby-faced Anna Kendrick to join the debate team. Anna Kendrick is like the school's top debater. She's all about debate life. And she encourages Hal, I put who stutters horribly so much he has trouble ordering food or just talking to anyone he's crossed paths with, and encourages him to join the debate team. And it leads to mixed results. A very like Napoleon Dynamite feel to the movie, like that weird low budget school comedy. The movie's well done and watchable throughout. Jonah Hill has a very small performance. He's basically a guy who's in the library in the movie in a few scenes and has like a few lines, but nothing major. But the movie's very well watchable, cringy in a good way. Like I said, like Napoleon Dynamite. I give it a 3 out of 5. Not something I necessarily need to own or would watch again, but definitely one I'd recommend checking out if it sounds like something you'd be interested in. Next up, a first-time watch for me. I grabbed this on 4K from Hamilton Book recently, and that is Philadelphia, this being the 25th anniversary edition. So yeah, I had never seen Philadelphia. I love both Denzel and Tom Hanks, so why I never saw this movie, I don't know, because this was an absolutely outstanding film. They're both fantastic in the movie. As per usual, Tom Hanks and Denzel both offer great performances. It tells the story of Andy Beckett, who's played by Tom Hanks, who gets HIV, AIDS, and this was back in 93, so it was filmed in 92 most likely. And he believes he's wrongfully terminated by the law firm that he works for, that he's going to, he just gets hired to become partner, and then he gets terminated. He then struggles to find somebody who will take his case because of the stigma with AIDS at the time. People weren't quite sure what it was about. You could see Denzel was like, when he meets with Denzel, he's very hesitant to like shake his hand. He's watching every single thing he touches. He goes and gets a test right away, goes to talk to his doctor. But he's a former like rival lawyer. His name's Joe Miller, Denzel. But the story is very powerful. It's an emotional story. Definitely had tears in the eyes at the conclusion of the film. Just a fantastic movie. Like I said, I'm very upset with myself that I did not watch this sooner. I give it a 4.5 out of 5. Philadelphia is a fantastic movie, and I don't know why I didn't watch it sooner. I can say that about a lot of stuff, though. So, next up, on Disney Plus, we watched Onward. I've been wanting to revisit this since I saw it in theaters. It was before the 4K had come out. Spoiler alert for a future video, or maybe it'll be a future video for sure. I now have it physically, but when we watched it, it was on Disney Plus. And the movie was just as good the second time around as the first time. I really enjoy it. Some people, for some reason, just don't like it. I think it's because they just don't like Pixar being a realistic, like, man, my beard is crazy. I cannot wait to go to a barbershop, guys, and get all this taken care of. But yeah, no, it's just a fantastic movie. It has some heavy themes behind it to an extent, but it's just a well done film. Really helps with the appreciation of family and brotherhood, especially in my opinion. I love that Tom Holland and Chris Pratt play the brothers in the movie. They're great together as cartoon brothers, but obviously they were in the Avengers movies together. But yeah, the relationship between brothers is really the key in this film. I think it really shows a lot of heart, and it's really key and important to the story. And it's just a well done mix of emotions and humor. I give it a 4 out of 5. Again, not my favorite movie of 2020, but definitely in my top 3 or top 4 right now. And we're 5 months into the year, although nothing's come out the last 2+ months in theaters, but still in the top 5 right now. I could see it being at the end of the year best of list, or at least an honorable mention, depending on what happens the rest of the year. Next up is a movie a lot of people messaged me about, saying, since when is that on Blu-ray? This was an Olive Films release, and both movies have been released on Blu-ray. We'll talk about the sequel in a couple weeks when we get to that review video, the end of May review video. But we checked out Agent Cody Banks, and I thought, again, I had seen this movie, but I apparently had not. So it is Frankie Muniz as Cody Banks, Hilary Duff there. So this came out in 2003. Like I said, starring Frankie Muniz. Basically felt like a James Bond, not parody, but a James Bond-esque kid who's in like middle school, just getting ready to start high school. Angie Harmon's character, who's there, she's like Cody's handler. Felt like an over-sexualized, like old school Bond girl. Like she was always dressed up in like sexy outfits and stuff. Just felt kind of weird for the vibe the movie was putting off. Especially like the movie's rated PG. And she felt very much like a Bond girl or somebody from like Austin Powers, in my opinion. Like she's dressed up in all these outfits, and then Cody Banks is in like flannel shirts, and the guys who are with Cody, like the surveillance crew, they're in like t-shirts and stuff, and she's dressed up in like dresses, and I don't know, it just felt weird. Hilary Duff and Frankie Muniz are good together in this movie. It was a fun watch. It's a fun family movie. Nothing fantastic, not awful like the second one. We'll talk about that in a future video. But I gave this a 3 out of 5. Definitely a fun watch. It'll stay on the shelf. Like I said, glad I did not buy the second one, but talk for a different time. Next up is a movie that if you guys watch my live streams, which I know some of you guys do, obviously, but it's been recommended to me for a while now by Joey Baseball. Joey Baseball told me I needed to watch UglyDolls. He has said, and I quote, "It's better than Frozen 2. It's better than Onward. It's a great animated movie with the fantastic, singers of modern times." So, even against my better judgment, because I really had no interest in seeing it, RJ said he would watch it. We put it in a hat. It got picked out. And the movie just wasn't very good to me. I think this movie is perfect for kids from the ages of like 4 to 10, 4 to 8, 4 to 9. Like there's a good message in the film. It teaches kids to not judge like people based on their looks or their appearance. That's great. It had a good message, but for the grown-up viewer, I don't think it was a very good watch. Like even I watch a lot of kids movies with RJ. I've seen a lot of animated movies with my son. This was not a good one in my opinion. The songs, like the cast is Janelle Monáe, Kelly Clarkson, Blake Shelton, Nick Jonas, Lizzo, like a lot of singers that are popular right now. I wouldn't say some of the best singers in the world outside of Kelly Clarkson in my opinion. But the music wasn't good in the movie, and it's all them singing. Like if you're gonna have a bunch of musicians, the music should at least be good. So you're like, well, that movie wasn't great, but the music was fantastic. The best song in the movie was a cover of a song by the Pentatonics, who aren't in the movie. Like it was just a song playing over a montage in the film. That was the best song in the movie. So not a Kelly Clarkson song, not a Janelle Monáe song. So very disappointing. I give it a 1.5 out of 5. I think a lot of people thought I was going to give it a half star. It wasn't awful. Luckily, it was like 80 to 85 minutes, so it went by fast, but not something I'd recommend watching. Unless you have a young kid to 8 years old and you're trying to find a movie with a positive message, then I would recommend it. But to sit there and watch as a family, it's going to be tough for the parents to get through, in my opinion. Next up was a movie that I've talked about in another video, but I want to mention it again. Sonic the Hedgehog on Blu-ray. This was sent over to me from Paramount Home Entertainment to review for you guys. And this was a very fun family movie. Lots of drama when the trailer for this first came out with the initial artwork of Sonic. A lot of people think it was fake artwork and it was all planned to get word of mouth up. But Ben Schwartz was great as the voice of Sonic. Jay Marsden did an okay job as like his buddy. Jim Carrey was great as Dr. Robotnik. This, all in all, is just a fun watch. I definitely recommend it. I give it a 3.5 out of 5. I would recommend checking this out for sure. And the last thing we watched this week is Big Fat Liar, which we checked out on Stars, which we had like a free week of on our cable. A very fun movie with Frankie Muniz, Amanda Bynes. It actually features a young Taron Killam, which if you watched Single Parents or SNL, he was on there. But he plays the bully in the film. Very young performance. Also Paul Giamatti, Sandra Oh, Donald Faison, John Cho. And if you're a movie fan, obviously I would assume you're a movie fan if you're watching this channel, lots of cool stuff in the prop house and costume department of Universal Studios. Some backstage stuff at Universal Studios Hollywood. They kind of like live in the prop house for a few days. So lots of cool stuff. You can see lots of things from previous Universal movies in the prop house. But it was a fun movie. I give it a 3 out of 5. Definitely a movie I've seen before and definitely one I'd recommend. So that's it, guys. That is this week's movies in review. Like I said, we're wrapped up on week 2 of May, as you can tell by the title of this video. So thank you guys for watching. As always, be sure to hit the like button if you guys enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below. I'll be sure to try to get back to you guys. Also, subscribe if you guys don't already. At the recording of this video, we just passed 2,200 subscribers, so thank you guys for that. Really been working hard to get out more content, to make the lighting better, to get a better tripod, to improve the qualities of these videos so you guys continue to enjoy them. Also, be sure to check out the description box down below where you can find links to my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Blu-ray.com profile, Letterboxd, where I rate and review all the movies that I watch. I also have different lists up there, some ranking lists, stuff I watched every year for the last like 2 or 3 years. I ranked all the movies that came out that year that I've seen. Tons of fun lists. Check it out. I always follow people back if they follow me on Letterboxd. I always follow you guys back. So also check out description for links to my email address, P.O. Box, Amazon wishlist, all that can be found down below. That's it, guys. Thank you for watching, and until next time, who's down the movie?